Believe it or not, the new Vauxhall Astra is the 6th generation. There's no denying it's a significant new car. The question, though, is whether it's going to be good enough to succeed. There's no polite way of saying this, but previous generation Astras have often felt like utility transport, the sort of car you get given by your fleet manager if he discovers you've been having an affair with his wife. Now, if the new car is going to rise to the top, it's going to have to overcome one of the toughest segments it's ever faced, one that includes the new Golf. We'll be finding out what punters think of the new Astra slightly later on, but first, let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. The key word here is quality, because Vauxhall wants us to see the Astra as being a slightly smaller version of the classy Insignia, banishing memories of its cheap and nasty base spec predecessors. Inside, that means we have got a well-finished cabin with some very upmarket materials and plenty of standard kit, including, for the first time, air conditioning on all versions. There's no denying it's an extremely nice place to spend time. Though if we did one criticism, it's the fact that some of the buttons on the central console are a little bit small and fiddly. Outside, I reckon the Astra's case wavers a bit. It's not a bad looking car by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, from some angles, it's quite handsome. But you wouldn't call it a stunning standout piece of design, would you? And what's going on with the strange plastic surround off the rear badge? We couldn't quite work that one out either. It's under the bonnet that things start to get more interesting, with the arrival of new turbocharged petrol engines. The 1.4 litre version that we're testing has 138 horsepower, enough for what Vauxhall reckons is 128 mph top speed, and yet it's still capable of delivering up to 48 miles to the gallon. So, what's it like to drive? Well, Vauxhall and General Motors Europe were clearly targeting the Volkswagen Golf with the new Astra. It's a car that's been designed to deliver comfort and refinement rather than outright driving thrills. And even the sporty sounding SRI badge on our test car doesn't actually translate into anything more than mild athleticism. Things we like, well, the well-damped ride copes extremely well with bumpy British B roads, very refined high-speed cruising, and the fact that despite its diminutive capacity, the 1.4 litre engine can actually be thrashed up to deliver some fairly impressive pace. Things we're not so keen on, well, the steering still lacks much in the way of feedback, and together with the sensible chassis settings, they mean this isn't a car that you're going to get a huge amount of fun from driving it near the limit. But what matters here isn't what I think of the new Astra, it's what punters think of it, which is why in an Autocar exclusive we have brought one of the very first examples in the UK to Clackett Lane Services, the busiest in the country, to find out how it fares against the toughest audience it's going to face, Volkswagen Golf owners.
Well, I drive a Golf GTI, and I like the Golf because it's really well made. It's nice to drive, but it's also really well made, good build quality, and this seems like it's improved in its build quality. I mean, obviously the most important thing is to drive it. Previous Astras that I've driven, I didn't like the gearbox, and I thought it was a bit tinny. So, but I'd definitely consider it. Yeah, absolutely.
I drive a Golf, 2002. This is fantastic. First glance, quite like it.
So, if you were in the market again for a Golf-sized car, would you consider one of these?
I would definitely consider it. Yeah.
I drive a Golf. I have never driven Astra before. So far, I'm sitting here looking at it, and not a big difference between this and a Golf. I can tell you, I can see myself in the future owning one like this. The first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a new shape, this is a nice car.
So there you have it. We'd be the first to admit it wasn't a particularly scientific survey, but it still produced an overwhelmingly positive response for the new Astra. Vauxhall should be very proud indeed.